What's up guys, it's your boy Ru, and today we are going to be looking at the screenshots for the kuronokiseki new battle system. So first of all, I want to shout out at Hanske21. I hope I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not, I'm terribly sorry, but shout out to you for all the work you put in. So this person actually is the one that put out all these screenshots out on the Twitter that I'm talking about right here, especially the translated one into English. So thanks for all the work you did. So it is confirmed that he is the main character, the main hero of the new game that's coming out, Kuronokiseki, which is taking place in Calvert. So what reason why I wanted to look at this real fast is to look at his eyes right here. So there's a glow in his eyes. That eye color right here. So what I'm thinking right there is I don't think that's his natural color. So what I'm curious to see is is this a craft he's using? Like, does he have hand-to-hand combat abilities? What are his special powers? And does his eye color glow? His eye glowing and the glow around his fist? Like, do they relate to each other? Is that like some special ability? So for example, Green Schwartz, so when he uses his spirit unification, his eye color changes. It goes from his regular pupil color to red. So is that kind of what we're seeing here, to where this eye color right here, this glowing color scheme, is that related to this ability he's using, or is that just his normal color? So I find that quite interesting. And then it is also confirmed that she is the heroine. So I guess I'm not sure if there's going to be like a romantic type of situation going on in this game. Hopefully we'll find out more information on the 9th. But for right now, he's the hero and this is the heroine. We don't have any names, so I'm going to be referring to him like that. So the main topic of this video is going to be this big screenshot right here, which has a ton of information. So looking at it at first glance, is basically just showing us components of the new battle system that's going to be implemented in Kuronokiseki, and there's actually quite a lot of information here, which is why I didn't want to wait until the 9th to just mash up all this different content into one video and then make it long. So I wanted to go in depth on this, what we have so far. So this is pretty much an overarching display of what to expect from the game. So first I want to look at each component in depth, and the first one we're going to look at is the field movement. So right here, as we can see, right, both of the characters are on the sort of open world map, where usually in the previous Trails games you have the one character, your lead character. So for example, you have a party of 4 and your lead is Rain or your lead is Lloyd. That's the character that's displayed on the open world. You can't actually see the 4-person squad. The only way you could see their avatar is if you switch characters. But in here, both the heroine and the hero are both displayed, so that's already a difference. So I'm assuming like when you're traveling across on the open world map, you probably can see the entire party if you have more than 2. But so far, only characters that have been confirmed to be on here are these 2. So these are the main 2 I'm going to be talking about. So they're there. So supposedly when you're running on the map, so obviously when you're playing these games, right, in open world, you have monsters on the open world that are spawned, and you can go up to them and you can encounter them. So usually the way it works in previous Trails games is you go up, you make contact with the monster, and then you sort of have this load time and you load into this battle phase screen. And that's how you battle monsters. If you don't want to engage, you just run past them, as long as they don't hit you, right? But you can't actually target them. But according to the screenshot right here, so if you look at this, so it's looking like, so right here, so we start from, this is the first point. So this instance, we're just traveling on the map, right, for example, and then there's a monster that appears on the road. Oops. There's a monster that appears on the road, and then you transition into this screen, which is essentially just the battle phase. So what I'm curious on, so what it's saying right here is the closer you are to the enemy, the easier it is to target and attack. So I'm thinking you can actually now target enemies and go directly into the battle phase from the open world map. Okay, so to demonstrate what I mean by that, we're actually going to shift into some Ys 9 gameplay. Alright, so now we're in Ys 9. So now, let me spawn some monsters. Okay, there we go. So we have monsters here. So right now, this is essentially what I'm expecting the Kuronokiseki game to look like, where we have our full squad, where there's a party of 3, a party of 2, just the hero and the heroine. Maybe there's that third guy. I believe there's a third character that was leaked, or not really leaked, but it was released a few months back, but we haven't gotten any confirmation or any details. So here we are, and then if you want to engage in battle, all you gotta do is just press a button command, and then you just instantly target, and then you just start attacking, right? So that's what I'm assuming, that's what it's gonna look like. You just run onto the open map, you encounter monsters, target, and then just start attacking, go right into the battle phase. If you want to skip it, all you gotta do is just run past them. You just run, and then you go to the next. If there's more monsters, there's more encounters. So you just want to skip it completely, you could just completely just dodge them, and then keep running forward. So that's what I'm expecting. That's based off that screenshot for the gameplay to look like, as opposed to just having to hit them and make contact in order to engage in battles. So yeah, that's how I'm kind of anticipating some of the on-screen battle system mechanics to work. So if we look over here, the way I'm understanding it, so you transition from on-world. If you want to target a monster, you target that monster, and then you use transition phase into the battle screen. So now in this battle screen, the way it's going to work is that so in this battle screen right here, the way it's going to work is that, so let's say you're controlling the main hero, and you have two other party members. What I believe is that two other party members is actually going to be moving automatically, and you basically just engage in battle in real time. However, you do have command inputs. So now let's transition into some Final Fantasy VII Remake gameplay, and then we'll kind of talk about what we could potentially see. Alright, so now we're hopping into Final Fantasy VII, the remake. And so I have a battle here, so let's engage and let's just kind of just take a look. So I just picked a random file just so I could quickly get into a battle. So I'm just standing in the corner here, and we can see that Aerith, the only other person in my party. Alright, let me just heal so I don't KO. So we can see that Aerith is single targeting, right? She's targeting against the opponents, doing her own thing. I'm not controlling. I'm Cloud right here, and I'm just moving around. If I want to start attacking, I start pressing inputs, but I'm stunned, so I can't move. Great. So yeah, that's how so now what I'm thinking is to control the opponent, the other characters in our party. Usually in this game you can switch. So I'm certain that we can switch characters that we're controlling in Kuronokiseki, but now the question is, will there be commands for it? So for example, in Final Fantasy, right? If we press the R2 button, we can actually give Cloud command inputs. So if I want Cloud to use an ability, I can give him an ability to use, right? He's not completely, I don't have zero control. I'll still be controlling Aerith, but I can give him inputs for him to do actions. So it's not completely like, it's just not completely based off AI. So now, right, I'm low health, I want to heal, I can go to Cloud, and then I could use a heal command. Obviously right now I don't have the AP ATB gauge, but you got what I'm trying to say. So now let's go back into the screenshots. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm anticipating the gameplay to look like. So once we get into this battle phase, we'll be controlling one character, and then we engage in battle in real time. There are input commands, but it all happens in real time. And in some of the games, basically what happens is when you go to put the input, it kind of like, it doesn't necessarily go to a pause, but it just slows down, right? So as we saw when we were playing, we were in the gameplay, whenever I pressed the command button, the time would slow down. It doesn't completely stop like it would in real time. Not in real time. So like, the time doesn't completely stop like it would in turn-based games. So where you can literally just press the button and then just stay there forever, which I'll take a look at when we get into the previous Joe's games in a little bit. So yeah, I'm expecting for it to look similar to Ys and Final Fantasy in that sense. But what I'm hoping to find out is whether or not we will have some control over basically the AI characters, our other characters in the party. So will we be able to give them an input command if we want them to do something? So let's say we're controlling this main hero right here, but we want the heroine to use an art, for example. So instead of her randomly moving, will we be able to input a command to essentially give her an art command for her to do something, and we still be able to control this character? Or will we have to switch into the heroine if we want to give her a command? Whereas like in the Final Fantasy we just saw, we can control Cloud, but we can still give commands to Aerith if we want her to do something specific. So like if we're taking a lot of damage, we want to heal, I can make Aerith do a heal spell, and then I can still control Cloud. I don't necessarily have to switch. So that's what I'm curious to find out. Hopefully we get more information soon about that, whether or not how that's going to work in Kuronokiseki. But already this is very interesting, the fact like the gameplay is basically going to be very different than what we were used to. But the one thing that is going to be staying the same is, as we can see, so we can see in this lower left corner that there's some action inputs. So it looks fairly familiar to what we've basically seen, right? We got the item here in this corner, we got the arts, the crafts. What I'm assuming this is going to be like a melee. So whether this is going to be like triggering a single melee hit or like a combo sequence of hits, kind of like what you would see if you repeatedly press the melee button on a Ys Final Fantasy or like a Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, like that type of game where you trigger a combo sequence of melees. Whether this is a single hit or a combo, I'm not sure. Then we have some 2 other buttons over here. I'm not really sure what that is. That might be specific to this game that hopefully we'll get more information about in the future. Okay, so now we're hopping into Hajimara with my boy Rin. So now one main thing we're already seeing is that when we're on the world, so right now I'm actually in the Revere Corridor. I just went into some random floor. So here we can see like, this is our party and I can only control 1 character. So right, I have a party squad here, but we only have 1 open world character. If we want to be a different character, we actually have to switch the avatar, right? We have to switch the person and then we travel around. Everything's at a standstill here. So right, these monsters can't hit us. If we don't know what to do, we can literally just press a command, boom. Okay, I don't know what to do. I could just literally sit here for like 30 minutes and decide, do I want to use craft 1, craft 2? I can do this. I can mess around with where I want to target. Do I want to target here? Do I want to target here? Do I want to heal? Right? Or do I want to do an AoE like that? Do I want to heal? Maybe I want to use an arts. And then with the arts, I can decide, do I want to do a single targeting arts? And then there's arts that have large ranges and you can either move it around, right? And you can decide, like I can take my sweet time and just think, what do I want to do? Maybe I don't want to use that and I want to use a full field art. You know what I'm saying? So we can take our time with that. So there's the art button. We have the craft button right here. Then if we want to move, right, we start at the stationary. If we want to move, we have to actually press the move command and we go to a spot we want to go. Okay, I want to move here, and then we move there. It's not in real time. Same thing with that melee button. We press that melee, we go up, we hit, it's a single hit. So now whether kuronokiseki is going to be like that with the single hit, or if it's going to unleash like a series of hits, I don't know. Hopefully we'll get more information. And then on the left side here, we have the orders. We got our items. We got our run button, which will also be in on kuronokiseki. It was in the screens. And then if you want to switch characters right here between our reserves. So that's that. And then of course, one thing we also want to note on the left is we have basically our action sequence. So right now Kuro's going, then Elisa, then we got the monster, then we got Rin. So it's the order basically based off of stats, right? The faster you are, the more speed, the more agility, the sooner you're gonna go, right? Kuro's going now, so once I go, pick his action, make him move, and then boom, he goes. So that's pretty much how that works. And then of course, we cannot forget the S-crafts, right? Cannot forget the S-crafts. Now the way the S-crafts has worked to now, based off the CP gauge, you got 100 CP or you got 200 or anywhere in between 100 and 200, you can do an S-craft. An S-break up till now, right here. So S-break is basically just an S-craft just out of turn. So if I'm like, okay, I'm controlling Elisa for example, I want you to do an S-craft with Rin, or I want you to do it with Arios, or I want to do it with Kuro. All you got to do is S-break, which is just a craft. There's all you need to do is have the necessary CP, and then boom, you're good to go. So that's how that works. So now, why not? Let's get this on screen real quick, and then we'll switch over to the screenshots, because you know this S-craft right here is the best. So I'm really curious to see how S-crafts are going to work in kuronokiseki, because it has been confirmed that there will be S-crafts, but S-breaks, as we're about to take a look, is going to be a little bit different. So now that we saw him do that, let's switch right back into the final few assessments, and then we'll call it a video. So yeah, like I said, similar input commands, main difference being that it's going to be in real time. So I'm really curious to see how that interaction is going to work. Hopefully on the 9th, when we get more information, there hopefully will be like example gameplay of actual video. The arts are going to be very similar to what I just demonstrated. Arts, of course, like there's not much that's going to change. However, one thing is interesting is that they're saying that so if we look right here, they're saying that the area of effect, the AoE of the arts is going to change. How it hits the enemies, the actual area. So when I showed the Hajimari gameplay, right, we had that little circle on the map, so we can kind of tell, oh, it's singular targeting. If it's a medium area, we can see like, okay, how many opponents or how many enemies is going to target within this circle. But I'm curious to see how it's going to change. They actually haven't given off any information as to how it's going to be changed, but that's something for us to look forward to and hopefully see. Now, a couple of new mechanics. One, so if you look in this little mini section right here, we can see that there's going to be S-breaks, but it's going to be called an S-break order. And like I just demonstrated, S-breaks are pretty much just S-crafts, just out of turn. So if I'm starting with one party member, but I want to do an S-craft with a party member, like let's say that's supposed to go in like 10 turns from now, I can just do an S-break. There's no conditions that are involved. I just need to have a certain amount of CP. But here, S-Break order is saying that you have to meet conditions. So I'm very curious to see what exactly that entails. So conditions maybe like you have to be at a certain HP, maybe you have to have a certain hits, maybe like you have to use a certain craft a certain amount of times. I'm really curious how to see that condition is going to be implemented into this gameplay for us to use S-Breaks, potentially making the gameplay more challenging. And then last but not least, so one thing I do want to talk about before I go into what I was about to say is this right here. So what I want to talk about, a couple last few points I want to make, and then we'll call it a video. This right here, these two screens in the bottom. So this one right here and this one right here are demonstrating evasive mechanics. So this is the hero, he's doing like a little somersault flip move, and then the heroine is doing a sidestep. If you press the X button for an input, it's going to trigger evasion. So as we can see here, that's evasion, but what I'm curious to see is, what does that mean for the characters you're not controlling, right? So if I'm controlling him, if she gets targeted, does that mean she has no chance to dodge, or does the AI for her that's controlling her have to dodge for her? You know what I mean? Or is she just going to get hit? So I'm very curious for that. And two is, if this is a in real-time game, which is what it's saying, if you quickly go over here, if you look at this top part of the screen, this is essentially resembling that action sequence bar that we usually have in Trails. So if we look at this square right here is probably going to depict the character that moves, and this will be the character that moves next. So if this is me, so let's say this is the hero, and the next character that's in line to move next is the enemy. What does that mean for dodge? Does this mean that when it's my turn, I have to, in this screen loading time right here, like at this point in the command inputs, if I press action and the opponent moves, does that mean I can't dodge? Or can I press the X button to dodge as the opponent's attacking me? And then last but not least, so this right here. So if we look, we can see that, so there's going to be a new element called a boost and a SCIM chain. So we have no idea currently what that means. So hopefully we'll be getting more information on the 9th. Hopefully we get some more information about those two. Hopefully we get some more information about the other guy that we saw briefly a little bit before, and then more into depth of like what this boost chain and SCIM is, as well as the actual story itself, because we actually haven't gotten any information about the story in itself. All we know is that it's going to be in Calvert. So what that exactly entails, I am very interested. Once again, shout out to Hansuke for putting out this information, and yeah, those are my thoughts on those screenshots. So what I am going to be doing up on that point is, as y'all know, so I'll leave in the description the link to my no item run Trails of Cold Steel playthrough in the description. I'm going to be playing through all 4 of the Trails of Cold Steel games, doing no item runs of each of them. And it's not just no items, I have other rules implemented. If you're curious to finding out what they are, click that link below and check it out for me. I'll really appreciate the support. But yeah, I'm going to be doing it through 1 through 4 as well as Hajimari. And hopefully we can get all those in potentially by the release date, which is supposed to be slotted in for this year, kind of towards the winter holiday section. So we have that to look forward to. Hopefully we get some more information in the coming future. But that's it for now. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what y'all guys thought in the comments. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.